Right, hello everybody. Welcome to Hilly Stream. We're back for Tuesday nights for a brand new season, and for what I think is possibly going to be the closest season we've ever had. Yeah, basically, the absolute fastest guys will not be racing on Tuesdays or Sundays in WAOF1. They will be racing on the Thursday night division only. So that, in theory, should open up, as we dad has a good cough in the background, that in theory should open up the season a bit better in terms of both the drivers and the constructors championship. So hello Mr. Whale, hello Mr. Vatty. James is winning it all. We'll see, he's got to keep it on track before he wins everything. Let me just see if I've got anywhere I can share the link as well. I've left so many leagues now since I last did a comms that I probably don't have that many places I can share it anymore. What's the thing that they're all called? Self-promotion, isn't it? So FLR I can. That's it by the looks of it. Well's already shared it in the WAOF1 Discord for me, so thank you for doing that, Well. And evening up the tunes, says Beastie. Yes, Beastie. That's what I like to hear. On that note, Manchester City 1-0 up at the moment. So, not against the tune, of course. But, right, anyway, we've got cars on track. Who was out first? It wasn't Steersy, so let's move. I think it was Boss. So Boss Membrane, so as you can see, the drivers for tonight, we do have 3 reserves tonight. 3 drivers unable to race. The most notable, in terms of reason for me, because I've got to say a massive congratulations to Chris. I don't know if he's listening or will listen to it at a later point, but a massive congratulations to Chris, who's not with us tonight because he has a new child. So his wife has given birth, so congratulations, Chris, on becoming a dad. What a fantastic thing. Awesome thing. There we go. Let me just do the settings for the audio. I haven't had to do that for a long time. It's already on there. Okay, that makes sense, actually. So, we're about to start the first flying lap of the season, and it's with Boss Membrane, so why not do the hilly hot lap straight away? So round the final corner, straighten up the steering, take as much speed down the straight as you can, DRS down to about 60%, sorry, ERS even, DRS down the straight as well, only goes down to about 75 actually, Boss, but I think you can get away with using a lot more. Here we go into turn 3, keep it really tight in qualifying. He does actually go out wide quite early. I prefer personally to keep that really tight, like you're doing time trial. Then into 4, picks up a bit of grass on the right front, right into the hairpin down to 3rd, 2nd for Boss. Open up the steering, get on the power. Again, not using any ERS at that point, so it feels much more like a banker or maybe track acclimatization lap from Boss rather than an actual full-out quali lap into this still reasonably new section. Always difficult on traction out of here and getting the power down, then throw it into the right-hander. You can actually allow the car just to slow itself down, don't necessarily need to use the brakes much, and flat out through the final 2 corners. Again, you'll pick up a short stint of DRS and ERS overtake to the line. Boss 13.5 on his first run. But you can see still 60% battery, so a lot of time there. Steersy 12.1 Go to one of our new drivers, KJDT. Try and remember to call him KJ for short as we go. KJ into P4, 117.8 on his first run. Ryanair, 113.3 goes into P3. James, his teammate, 112.8 into P2. Good strong team that, the RBs. No, I'd rather leave it as a surprise. Please, Beastie, thank you. I hope you've seen the starting lineup. It's the same lineup as the weekend, except Miley stays in and Bruno comes out for Sandro. If you haven't already seen it. So Bruno out, but the rest of the lineup is the same. No, sorry, Murphy's in for Alanga as well. Apologies. Otherwise the rest is the same. Here is Chewbacca. Like it should be on. That sounded more like a dog than a Chewbacca. I don't know what do you call Chewbacca's? I've forgotten. It's so long since I've seen a Star Wars film, I can't really remember. Chewbacca did initially go into P6, 114.2. George and Watson have gone up to 3 and 4 in the Haas, both in 13.2, so that's a nice matching team. Admiral just started a lap, so let's see if we can get a full run in here. Goes into turn 1 down the 4th. Doesn't use any of the curb on 2. That's pretty advisable to attack that curb. It's only Q1 at the moment, so I'm not necessarily required to do so. In terms of don't see that noise again. No, I agree. I'm not very well at the moment, by the way. I'm not very well at the moment. So I missed some comms at the end of the season last season because I've not been well, and I've come down with something again. So that didn't help me do that noise, BC, I'll be honest. Admiral round the fast right-hander, picks up DRS, then down to the lingering left. It's cool because it just seems to go on and on and on, and you just feel like you should be getting on the power so much, a good car's length earlier than you actually can. So slippery. It was always slippery through there though, even when it was a different layout. The 90-degree corner. Here we go over the line then. Admiral 113.3 goes into P6 at the moment with that one. Car reduced, just kind of through the end of sector 2. 1.6 through the second sector. So much improved driver at the end of last season. So we'll see how he goes. Likely to be a bit of coughing and spluttering tonight. Very well. So Tolu has invalidated his first run very early in the lap though, so we'll be able to do effectively a cool down lap or a second out lap and then go again as long as it's got the fuel. Can't quite see the fuel, but it looks like it says 2 point something, so that would suggest it's got enough fuel to stay out and go again. Who else do we have? Ryanair has crashed out. So the RB of Ryanair has crashed out. I missed that, but see now he's definitely crashed out because he's putting down to P15, despite being 113.339, which at the moment would have him in P6. It's a disaster for Ryanair and RB, who are looking very, very handy. Is Ozers and Well back together again. And I think we can safely say that Wales' excuses have been new to Will are done now. He gets no more excuses of that anymore. And Ozers towards the end of last season, what a pace difference, as he worked with Carsey quite a bit, who came in as his teammate. Has to come off the power but still invalidates through the final corner. I'm expecting good things from Moses this season. I think a top 5 in the championship is absolutely achievable for him. Whether he can do any more or any better, we'll have to wait and see. So sorry, let's go back to Tolu. as he comes up to finish his lap. Evening Apple, long time no see yet. Not in the same leagues anymore. I've got mine right down, 3 leagues remaining. One of those will be disappearing once the season goes. 112.5 from Tolu goes into P2. I think if you're a betting man pre-season, you would suggest that Steersy and Tolu are probably going to be the biggest championship rivals. We'll have to see. Reserves tonight, by the way, Rich, who we're on board with now in the Red Bull. Bobo in the McLaren, is currently occupying P12, hasn't got time on the board yet. And I'm trying to remember who the other one was. Chewbacca, I believe. The other one for 14.2 at the moment in the Sauber in P9. The rest are full-time drivers, and we had a great turnout on Sunday, a full grid of full-time drivers for the first race. It was a very interesting race. Weirdly, starting at Abu Dhabi on Sunday, we did. I'd suggest the commentator turned around and said, "What a race! First race of the season." So, I really suggest giving Brian Stream a watch for that race if you can. 113.0 then from Rich moves up to P5 for Red Bull. That's 2 and 5 for the Red Bulls at the moment. Good start. Somebody jumped up then. It was somebody who I was looking at. I think it was Bobo. It's jumped up to P5. Here's Whale, who's invalidated. Beastie then, just on his way up to the end of second sector. Beastie across line M13.5 puts himself into P12 at the moment. He's safe, but a lot of drivers yet. As you can see, still 4 drivers with no times on the board. KJ is out there trying to improve his as we go on board with well to see if he can invalidate another lap. Down to turn 5. Nicely done. Got the car rotated well through the hairpin. Gave him a good exit. Flat out as always through the right hander. It's been many years now since that corner wasn't flat out. The very original F1 games that wasn't flat out. The cars were back in the late 90s. So very understandable. The sort of grip and aerodynamic forces that they do now. So well across line 13.1 goes into P10, not a bad start from the Ferrari man. Let's go to KJ then as he looks to improve. Or is he just, no, he's just finished the lap, so he did improve slightly, almost 2 tenths. Soon coming up to the end of sector 2, but with 6 tenths down through sector 1. Has done multiple laps on these tyres, so I think that's more a bit of a track acclimatisation going on at the moment. I do that myself sometimes. Get a time on the board in Q1 I'm happy with. I might just do some extra laps on those tyres just to acclimatise myself to the track for the next couple of sessions. But not sure if the time's good enough, then I'm straight back in just in case I've got to go out again. Falcao, by the way, jumps up to P2. He's another one, along with Boss Membrane, who may throw their hat into the title race. Chris would definitely be another one if he was here tonight, but he's going to obviously have some catching up to do. I'm off track, but it looks to me like he's letting the Ferraris through, so I don't think that's a mistake. I think he's just letting them through as Whale gets out of the way of Ozers. Maybe got a little toe down the smaller straight. Just into the final corner then, much better than he did last time. And that's a 12.7 from Ozers, goes up to P5. Doing so does push well down to P11. think might need to look at going out again. Actually back and coming round, I think, to start a lap, although I don't know, he's got his hot lap on going through the final couple of corners. It's silly using up energy before you cross the line like that. So as you can see, Chewbacca using hot lap and overtake, which I might give him a hand, or if he hears this, it's very much recommended on this year's game not to use hot lap. It burns a lot of energy without very much gain in speed, so this year's game only use overtake and medium in qualifying sessions. Any other drivers that might be listening and didn't know that, that's little tip for you. It will improve your times. Took me a few laps to get used to it. When I first heard about it, I used it at Austria, and it did take me sort of, I think it took about 5 or 6 attempts before I actually saw an improvement, and then I was improving every lap. Other drivers might find it a bit easier than that if you switch to it, because I use a method where I use my RB and LB buttons on my pad to toggle through the ERS modes. So I have to press it twice to go up to overtake from medium and twice back down. Most people just use a press LB for one bit button on the wheel to go into overtake. That's my own fault, because I just haven't set up a qualifying mode yet. That's probably what I should do. You can have different controller layouts set up and just switch between them. So here's Alfa Romeo's then, another driver you'd expect to be getting through Q1 reasonably easy. He's back to the pits. Kev is out there, but it's invalidated. George 3 temps up through sector 2, so that would already take him into the high 12s. Which would put him somewhere around Bobo in P7. And on whether he gains through the final sector, he may nip ahead of James here, and possibly Ozers. Not quite, he actually lost a bit through the final sector, so it slots into P8 behind Bobo, but that's pretty handy at the moment for getting through Q1. So, got any new laps? So Kev's just going onto a lap, again using hot lap for those final 2 corners. That's really odd. Through the long right-hander that is turn 3, real tyre eater. So there's 3 corners around here that really eat the left-hand tyres, which is turn 3, the flat-out right-hander after the chicane in sector 2. I'll point them out as we come to them, but the final corner as well are all big tyre eaters on your left-hand side. Any fast flat-out corners like this are always going to hurt tyres. So in race you can do a tiny lift into them that just helps to keep the tyre temperatures down, and therefore not to wear so much. You lose a bit of time obviously because you lift in, but you don't lose much. So if you're looking to one stop, it can be helpful. That one's not so bad, even though it's flat-out right-hander, but this is a massive tyre eater that you can easily hit 140 degrees on your front left around that final corner. 6 tenths improvement from Kev, but he stays P19. Another driver using hot lap and overtake. KJ, that's a retirement on track. That's a big no. He's a brand new driver to the league, so hopefully you get a bit of a ticking off for that. But yeah, absolutely never retire on track in any session. Boss not on a lap. Let's see if we can find somebody who is. Whale not on a lap. Karma was on a lap, but he just crossed the line, jumps up to P13 as the checkered flag is out. So Whale not on a lap. He's relying on improvement's not being big enough from Alfa Romeo and Kev. And Kev had just finished a lap, so I don't actually think Kev's on a lap. Yeah, no, he's over 4 seconds down, so he's just doing a cool-down lap and back to the pits. Alfa Romeo needs an improvement here to get through. You would not expect Alfa Romeo to be struggling to get through Q1 in any league, in any division. 3 tenths up through Sector 2 only puts him close to Chewbacca, still slightly behind, and Chewbacca's occupying P16. Ryanair in P15 having crashed out. He's on a 339, so he's only 8 thousandths ahead of Chewbacca. But here comes Alpha, and he does indeed improve enough to jump up to P15 by the skin of his teeth, makes it through to Q2. Again, not a driver you'd expect to be struggling to get through Q1, but such, I believe, is going to be the closeness of the grid this year. So, look at it. We've lost Beastie in P18. I mean, that's incredible, to be honest. Didn't expect that. Look how tight it is, really. I mean, Beastie out in P18 on a 13.4. On a 13.0 would have you in P10, so I'm sure there's plenty of time in the lap for these guys. Usually, if you're eliminated in Q1, it's normally because you haven't really got your best attempts on the board. Grid of 20 drivers, there's bound to be some that do struggle to get a proper lap on the board, especially at tracks that are that like Spain, that are very easy to invalidate at, or very easy to lose traction. There's incidents, but yeah, we just need to have a bit of a word with KJ. You cannot be retiring on track in any session. So, I don't know if anybody's already told him. Right, okay. I see Man City are 3-1 up out of time. Oh, they might start the second half now, actually. Good to be back, says Bobo. Sorry, Bobo, I've only just seen... I actually did see it earlier on, but I didn't respond to it. But yeah, good to have you back, Bobo. Fabulous driver. Who's going to be another one, I think, that if you do get a full-time seat, you may well be able to shake this championship up a bit. So we're going to be on board with Steersy. Sorry, I'm just being a bit distracted. I was just letting KDJT or KJDT know about not retiring on track. That's Kenneth in the Discord. So I'm just letting him know not to do it in any session. He's already responded, so he didn't know. He is new to League Racing, and he didn't know, so sorted in a way. He said he won't do it again. Steersy then across the line, 112.4 goes fastest. Gunnar 112.6, Boss 13.0. Watson just coming through sector 2, 51.4. As James 112.7 goes into P3. There's another driver, by the way, had a very good season last season. Instance here and there, or little spins and stuff, but not like he used to, and his pace was very, very solid all season. Had some tracks where he's better than others, but don't we all? Watson then P7, just made a mistake in the final corner then, which lost him some time. Obviously would have been a bit faster. Lots of drivers setting times now. Toby goes up to P4, 12.9. Ozer's 13.6, Admiral 13.0 up to P5. The drivers I've mentioned about the championship, one I haven't mentioned so far in that regards is the Gunnar, who, without doubt, any league that the Gunnar is in, he can challenge for a title. Because he is the second most consistent driver in the league after me. No, he is a seriously consistent driver, and that leads to him scoring strong points nearly all the time, which for the other fastest guys out there who win a lot of races but don't also have little mistakes, it means they have races where they're a bit further down, or don't have a full attendance, which Gunnar is another driver that nearly always has 100% attendance every season. It gives him a chance, it always gives him a chance. Rich at the moment, and again, don't think we're on a lap here, but I don't think we have anybody on the lap right now. So Falcao is on an out lap, so we will switch to him, but just confirming that Rich goes into the pits. Little thing with the pits here, I don't know if you just noticed it, but one of the boards on the left hand side just sticks out a little bit, and don't do what I did in qualifying. I don't think it was the last time I raced Spain, it was the time before, but just if you catch that with your wheel, it just tears your wheel straight off. So just be aware of that. It just, you know, if you drive into the pits a little bit slower, then you will see it quite easily, but it is there. You must avoid it. So we don't have the bump anymore, but we have a hoarding board that sticks out. Falcao then coming round at turn 3. That was the end of sector 1, 21.6 through the first sector. A little bit of grass on the right front, didn't quite get the entry right. He now comes up to a hairpin, opens up the steering, gets on the power. We head down to this tricky chicane. Again, traction can be very difficult. You could do it one lap, get perfect traction out of that corner. Next lap, it wants to spin the car around. It's a very awkward, strange corner. We head now into the final sector. My predictions here would be that Falcao, Steersy, Gunnar, Tolu, and probably Bobo won't have any issues getting through Q2, but there's going to be a big fight between the rest of the drivers. James may well be in that bracket as well, to be fair. He's showing good pace at the moment. He's always done well at Spain. Boss across the line to start his second run of the session. Loving the look of this grid at the moment. Boss heads into the fast right-hander. Obviously, in qualifying, no need to worry about the tyres. Just drive as fast as you can. It's just over half a tenth down in sector 1. That's always a bit of a gut wrencher when you're slightly down through sector 1. Unless you know that you've made a mistake somewhere later in the lap where you're going to gain a lot of time if you get it right this time. It's just a bit annoying, really. Always puts it in your mind, shall I back out the lap, because you've got plenty of time to get your battery back and go again. So Boss not doing that, and now he's over a tenth up. Would be enough to put him into the high 12s. So far we're not really seeing massive time gains from the drivers due to track evolution. As Gunnar goes 12.4, 4 thousandths quicker than Steersy, and that is a 12.8 from Boss. That moves him up to P4. Bobo then goes fastest on a 12.3. I was going to say let's go to George, but he's invalidated. Who else do we have? Somebody else jumps up. That's Ozers jumping up to on a 12.5. Goes up to P4. It's ahead of James. He'll have the bragging rights in the party. I think James might be heading for the line here. Yeah, he does, and he goes fastest. Well, James sets a new standard by going 12.1 in this session. Will we see an 11 for Paul? Quite possibly. Back when we used to have the likes of Carsey and Callum on the track, you'd expect it. An 11 for these drivers would be a very good qualifying, so Rich did make a mistake there in the second sector, but he's still a tenth and a half up through sector 2. Trying to stick with the drivers that are likely to be battling it out to try and get through Q2 if we can. And no, he's back to the pits, so 5.5 minutes just over left on the clock, so back to the pits after that mistake. He knows he could do a lot better. Bobo into the pits. Gunnar crosses the line to start a new lap. It's obviously not a driver that we'd expect to be battling to get through here, but none of those drivers are on laps at the moment, so let's do a full lap with Gunnar. Heads into the hairpin. Little bit of inside curve, which is recommended. It just helps to rotate the car a little bit through the hairpin. Always looking to straighten up the steering as quick as he can. Gunnar, a fellow pad player, by the way, is one that's not on wheel. I'm not too sure about anybody else, if I'm honest. I know lots of people that are on wheel, but I don't know if there's any other pad players in the division. Big disadvantage for pad this year. Only 2 tracks that really suit pads. You wouldn't say they even suit pad more than they do wheel. They just put pad players on a level playing field, really. But the biggest thing, I think, is pad players having a serious disadvantage when it comes to tyre wear on this year's game. I think it's something they need to sort out. But it doesn't seem to hurt Gunnar too much as he goes 112.2 and into P2. Let's go down to Falcao then, because he's currently sitting P15, and it's last chance saloon, really. We're inside, I believe, 4 minutes now. I had a permanent yellow flag out, so I haven't actually seen the time remaining for a little while now. Definitely under 5 minutes, I'd say we're under 4 minutes. Maybe lower than that. Falcao shows purple through sector 2, but as always on F1 or this year's game, you can't really trust that when a driver doesn't already have a time on the board. Here he comes then. It's looked decent to me. I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, 112.2 shoots up to P2. Steersy might be having a little think here, because all of a sudden he's down to P6, having retired on that 112.4 earlier in the session. I've no doubt whatsoever that he will be okay, but seeing himself jump down to P6 with lots of drivers out to do their final runs might just put a little bit of worry into him. Retiring early in Q2 is you're really using Q1 as your guide to what sort of times drivers are likely to do. You retire early and find, oh, they're actually a lot quicker than that. So Watson starting a lap now, by the way. That wasn't finishing, it's just starting a new lap. So the Haas in 13 and 14 at the moment. A little bit of curb on turn 2. Actually really attack it more than that. Really fly over the curb. It's the fastest way to do it, but it's always been a bit of a worry. It used to be a death curb on F1. I think that's always in people's minds a little bit. All of the track on his corner entries here, Watson. Lovely to see. It's out over the curb. It's down. Just opens up the turning. Allows you to straighten up your steering a little bit quicker. As we know in F1, it has been for years, but probably more so in this year's game. Traction and getting on the power early, as early as you can, seems to be the way to get faster. Heads then into the final corner. It's looked decent to me. I'm expecting this to take him into the top 10. 12.8. It doesn't take him top 10. 12.8 leaves Watson in P11. Admiral a bit further around than Karma at the moment, so amazed there from Watson at that. It looked like a good lap to me. Well, it is a good lap. Standards high at the moment. Basically 4 attempts. It's slightly over 4 attempts, covering 1st of 10th. As I'm suddenly getting game chat. There we go. I've opened up a new party. I don't know what that was all about. I must have spent an hour in a party. So Admiral goes P11, 112.7. Off we just started a lap. Whereas Karma's heading for the line. Karma improves by 4 attempts, goes P12 ahead of Watson. So Alpha, I think, it's our last chance. Boss Membrane sat in the pits. What's Boss up to? Car off track. Believe it or not, that was a Ferrari. It looked white to me. Genuinely, that looked white to me, but it was a Ferrari. You can tell by the mini-map. Alpha DRS open, heads down to the end of sector 2. Perfect use of the battery so far. Maybe had about another 8% he could have used at that point, but close enough. Oh no! Traction out of right-hander's done him. And as is the way on the F1 games, as always really, a really aggressive front end, which is what Max Verstappen uses in real life, tends to be the way to go. But on that occasion, he's just made Alpha lose the car on that right-hander, and that's what it can do. Just slightly too aggressive on your throttle, it just pulls the car around. And as you can see, Watson not on a lap here. So that is it for Q2. So well done to James Rich up to P. Sorry, I missed that one, but Rich P2 by the way. Red Bull. So Red Bull 2 and 5. So James, Rich, Falco, Gunnar, Tolu, Bobo, Steersy, Ozers, George, and Whale. Both Ferraris in the top 10. Going through to Q3. Unlucky to Admiral Karma, Watson, Boss Membrane, and Alfa Romeo, who we lose at the end of Q2. Who is your money on for pole position? Because right now, this is, look at the top 5 covered by less than 1/10 of a second, and you know full well Steersy can go faster. So this, well, top 5 in this race is going to be so closely fought. But can the likes of Bobo, Ozers, George, Whale, can they push on a little bit and actually push for that top 5 as well? From what I've seen of them, they're all capable of doing it. Q3. So when it's like this, when it's close like this, do you bother with putting a banker lap on the board on your first run? So you still push, but you maybe just don't push to the absolute limit on your first run, just to get a banker so that you're not starting P10 and then really go hell for leather on your second run. Or because it's clearly so close in qualifying, do you risk it for a biscuit and go for flat out 100% hell for leather for both runs? So I don't really need the tyres up. Let's leave the tyres off. We know they're going to be using softs. So we're already here at one engine. You can see the McLaren garage moving already. So Bobo coming out quickly. Is there anyone out? Yeah, there is somebody further up the lane. Steersy. But it's the Sauber. Gunnar who comes out first. So we will be going with him first. That is one thing. Gunnar loves to be first out on track in qualifying. He always has. So the fact that he's in a Sauber at the end of the garage, we'll be seeing a lot of Gunnar in Q3 this year, I think. Sometimes not always free. He loves to be first out in a way, but he's sometimes not necessarily in Q1 especially, or Q2, but Q3, I think we might, with him being in the Sauber, we might see him out first nearly every race. A bit of the broadcast cam, which I think's been improved this year, by the way, on F1-25. It's still the same old shots, really, but you don't tend to get the. You watch this happen in a race in a minute, but you don't tend to get the bits where you find the cars suddenly get hidden by a wall or something. They seem to have sorted that out, which is great. I still say though, wouldn't it be great if they actually did a proper commentary mode for the spectators? So here we go then, on board with Gunnar. Navigates through turns 1 and 2 nicely. As you can see, he does keep a really tight line through 3. Better than we've seen really through turn 4. Not very many of the drivers we've watched have avoided picking up a bit of grass through turn 4, and Gunnar does avoid that. Nicely through the long left. That's just long right. That's just awkward on traction. Then very nice and left to open up the final corner. Flat out does shift down to 6th, but easily flat out. 12.3 is a good first lap on the board, but immediately beaten for Steersy, who's the first into the 11s. Steersy 1:11.890. Bobo 1:12.0. Ferrari on its way. Rich 1:12.7. Ozer's the first of the Ferraris to put a lap down, 1:12.5. Haas is about to cross line. That's George 1:12.7. James just here about to cross line, 1:12.3, puts him into P3. Here is Tolu. He's next up. Whale and Falcao just coming round on their out laps to start their laps, so we'll see Tolu and then move to Falcao as he's further along than Whale. Not 100% sure. Well, might just be close enough to Falcao, and he might just be getting a very distant toe in the pit straight there, which may just help. Tolu out the final corner, 1:12.3. He goes into P4, knocking Gunnar down to 5. Down to Falco as promised then. Right, a little bit wide of the apex. Don't know whether the car that he overtook, which was Ozer's, maybe just put him off of the entry a little bit. No fault on Oses, he didn't do anything wrong. He was absolutely right in keeping out the way. I just wonder if it took Falcao's eye off of his turning a little bit. So the rest of the laps look pretty good. So he hits the DRS. Over the line, 1:12.3 goes into P5. Quickly gets down to well for him to cross line 13.2 in P10. Remember, as with Q2, you're never 100% sure which drivers are using a used set from Q2 or Q1 and which drivers have gone straight for a fresh set. You'd assume that Steersy did have 2 fresh sets available because of course you get an extra set, but the fact that he retired on his first lap in Q2 would suggest that we know he's got that extra set available for 2 fresh set runs. I don't think anyone else we can be 100% sure on. I don't know, I think Gunnar might have done a second run, or attempted a second run, and is now back to the pits. So we're going to have a little bit of a break here until everybody starts coming out again. Having said that, Rich is already on an out lap, so he's going to keep us entertained as Whale enters the pits. Out there on an out lap. Really quick around tracks like this, whereas the times, I mean, they're not the fastest laps of the season, but they're pretty low. You know, pretty fast. So if you're really, really quick, you can perhaps get a 3 runs in around the track like this. I think, personally for me, I prefer to do one, get in the garage, have a little bit of a break, maybe think about what I did wrong and where I can gain time, and then go out again at the death when the track evolution is at its absolute maximum. Anybody who's just watching and maybe doesn't play the game themselves, yes, absolutely, track evolution is a thing. Hey Ransdale, I don't know how long that message has been there, but go on the boys, he said. Then in the sector 2, he's up just over a quarter of a second, so a strong improvement already. Puts him right on the coattails of Ozers in P7 already, having just completed 1 sector. Chicane pretty nicely. It's both curves through the flat out right. Like the car tried to oversteer slightly on the exit, but he caught it very, very quickly, so I don't think it really affected him. Oh, he's touching the curb on the inside. He still manages to hold it though. That curve is the one you avoid at all costs. And then through the final corner, it's looked like a decent lap. And it's a 12.0 from Rich. That puts him P3. Bobo has started his second run. Just over half a tenth down through sector 1. Very easily recoverable though through the rest of this lap. What's he doing through sector 2? We're about to find out. He's backed out, sorry, I hadn't realised he's backed out, so 5.3 down. So let's go to James then, who's heading down to turn 1. As I always say, it's like one gigantic S-bend, turns 1, 2 and 3. It's not technically, but it is like one. James making a mistake there through turns 1 and 2, meaning he backed out. Plenty of time to go again. I think, if memory serves me right, Spain isn't a track where it allows you to go under 3 laps of fuel in qualifying, so James will have enough fuel to have another attempt, but you can see on his steering wheel, 1.7 it's just gone to. So he's got the fuel for another run, but it is last chance saloon. He will not be able to get back to the pits. he couldn't actually pit now and get in and out in time. Well, literally if he was entering the pits now, but by the time he gets round to the pits, it'd be too late, so he's got to go. It might have actually been very, very close, but he'd have had to have done such a fast out lap that it probably wouldn't have been ideal. Here he goes. Much better through 1 and 2. Hugs the inside nicely through 3. Say in the race, that is you do not want to be hugging the inside through the race. That will burn your left tyres. Keep the steering as open as you can through that corner will really help. Qualifying is the fastest route around the track that you can find. Oh, the car tried to pull in and oversteer as he touched the curb. What's that done? He's just putting 17 thousandths down, but still a chance to improve through the final sector. See on the steering wheel is really, really tight as to whether he's going to improve or not. And here he comes. He does improve just over a tenth. So, stays P4, but makes the time much harder for the guys behind him to beat. Who's further around out of Steersy and George? George is further around. To the end of sector 2, and George is found just over a quarter of a second. Puts him slightly ahead of Ozers. At this point of the track, didn't look perfect through the next couple of corners, but still improving. And pretty good through the final 2. And it's a 12.3. 4/10 improvement, goes ahead of Ozers into P8. And let's go to Steersy. He's 2/10ths up through sector 2. Despite being slightly down through sector 1. Be a bit of a monster lap. The Tuesday division coming up. Barring any little mistakes through the final corner. All looks smooth to me. Still battery to take him to the line as well, and it's an 11.5. Massive improvement from Steersy to take what I believe will be pole position. That crossing the line, that's Tolo, improves by 3/10. That takes him up to P2, 2 thousandths ahead of Bobo, but Bobo is improving. Whale finishes, improves his time to a 12.3, but unfortunately stays P10. Unfortunately for him, not for George. Falco improves to a 12.1 and goes P6. That's what I said. The top 5 positions are ridiculously close. Okay, at the moment Steersy's blown him away, but Bobo does improve to an 11.7. Look how tight it is. If you take Steersy and Bobo out of the equation a bit, Tolo in P3, covered down to Ozers in P8, covered by 2/10ths of a second, which is so little. It's basically a blink of an eye. Incredibly tight. It's amazing really when you think of Formula 1 how tight the margins are, the little tenths of a second, thousandths of a second even sometimes. Cars that are designed and built, okay, we're equal performance in the league, but in real life, cars that are built and designed by completely different people, and yet they end up so close. So that is our qualifying. We'll have a quick read down just to confirm the final top 10 there. But so Steersy takes pole, Bobo P2, Tolo 3, Gunnar 4, Rich 5, Falcal 6, James 7, Ozers in 8, George 9, and Whale in 10. It's, compared to last season, both Ferraris, well, last season in a division that they drove together in, Ozers and Whale, both Ferraris into the top 10 on the first race of the season. It's pretty decent, I think. So there we go. We have qualifying, guys. As always, there will be a break, so any drivers that are listening, please do not ready up. Little football update for you. Manchester City 5-2 up against Fulham. It's an incredible game going on there. I don't know why I'm giving you a football update on the stream, but hey ho, it's probably because it's just sat right in front of me. Okay, guys, I'm just going to take a little break. I'll be back in a few minutes ready for the start of the race. We'll do a grid rundown and check out the tyres and expected strategies. So, see you in a bit. Okay, guys, sorry a bit late, but back with you. So, sorry, get out of my system. Right, Steersy starts on pole. Bobo P2, Tolo in 3. Gunnar starts 4 with Rich in 5. Falco in 6th with James alongside in 7. 8 for Ozers. 9th for George. Whale rounds out the top 10. Admiral starts P11 with Karma alongside in 12. Watson 13 with Boss Membrane in 14. Alfa Romeo starts 15. Ryanair in 16. Chewbacca 17 with Beastie in 18. Kev in 19. And KJ who will bring up the rear in P20. How great is it to have Chewbacca and Beastie starting on the same row? Brilliant. Tyres, as you can see, a complete different sort of scenario. So, top 7 all start on the mediums. Ozer starts on softs in 8th. So we'll see him off the line, may make up some positions. Then 9th to 12th on the mediums. Hards for Watson and Boss in 13 and 14. Mediums for 15 and 16. Softs for 17, 18. And KJ in 20th. Kev in P19 starting on the mediums. So, expected strategy is a one-stop medium to hard or hard to medium. However, you can fully expect to see several two-stoppers around here as well. 4 lights, 5 lights are on. Out they go, and Steersy looks like he moves off the line very well, as does the Red Bull. Claren, Bobo coming under a bit of pressure from the Red Bull. We watch a bit further back. How do people with some contact? It looks like they all survived that, but there was definitely contact on the second McLaren from somebody behind. But there was all a bit of a wobble going on, but it looks like they survived. Well, actually, sorry, Karma didn't. Who's the second McLaren? He must have gone round because he's fallen to the back and 8 seconds off the pack. So, position changes. Ozer starting on those softs is up 3 places to P5. James is up 1. And those 3 places is the joint top with Ryanair and Chewbacca both up 3 as well. Obviously, Karma, having gone round, is the furthest or the biggest loser, down 8. But he's already taken a good half a second out of the back of the grid. Well, he had. Just lost a load of time on the little straight. I don't know what's happened there. Has he got any damage? Yeah, he has actually. That's what's happened. He's got damage to the left side of the front wing. So we saw the contact happen on the stream, but we didn't quite see what happened following it. I thought everybody had survived it, but clearly Karma hadn't. As he gets back to the pits, he'll obviously be hoping for a safety car at some point in this race. Otherwise, the nosers, James up 1. It's as you were at the front, the top 4 all in the same order. And now it's on Bobo and Tolu and Gunnar to see if they can hold on to Steersy, whose quali pace definitely suggested that he might be able to pull away in this race. It's not easy once you get to the point. So your best chance of pulling the lead at the front is always lap 1. It's after that the cars behind get the DRS. So it does make it obviously that much more difficult to pull a gap. Might make 4 attempts through the lap, through the corners, and then get onto the pit straight. They got DRS and it's gone again. So as Alfa Romeo picks up the first penalty of the season. So it's a few more of those before the end of the race. So with the position changes up for the end of the first lap, so we can see the biggest gainers. So Karma's strategy now is got to be, you know, he's offered the pack, had to pit for the damage, so his strategy is literally got to be to hold out for a safety car, hope for a safety car, just make sure he stays ahead of the leaders and doesn't get laps. He's way ahead on track, so he's not under no danger of that at the moment. So yeah, just concentrate on keeping it clean, really. No way, unfortunately, that he can look to take hards to the end in this race. way too high wear around Spain. So you definitely will have to pit again. So, oh, everybody's so close together at the moment. Ozers has dropped off for the DRS of Gunnar, which leaves him a bit vulnerable to James as they head round to the straight. One of the biggest problems or challenges on this track is trying to stay close enough through the final two corners to take advantage of DRS, but here comes James. Overtake is on, and he is going for it, so he gets alongside. The inside, Otis has the inside of 2, but then James will have the inside on 3. And I think he's got that done. Otis softs, obviously his softs will start to die very, very quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already feeling some wear on those tyres, so you can expect Otis in very early in this race. So we got a Rich coming alongside on the outside of Falcao, and I think he's got it done. Oh, what a horrible broadcast camera it's going to give us there. And that's better. And in the end, yeah, hard racing for me. Maybe a little bit of contact, but hard racing. And Rich gets that done. Lovely move around the outside of the hairpin at turn 5. There's a lock up. Comes there from Falcao, leaving him vulnerable a bit to George, but not an easy line for George to take through that series of corners, which leads to Falcao holding place. Little wobble just behind, I think that was Boss Membrane, the Alpine. And a little wobble as he came out of the right-hander. DBG, oi Hilly, how's it going, mate? All good, mate, all good. Thank you very much, hope you're well. As I said, Ozers is going to be in early, he's already in. So, a 2-stop from Ozers today, and his strategy here is to now be quick into complete clean air. The next driver ahead of him is KJ, and he's way up the road, so it's going to take some laps for Ozers to catch KJ, I think. So, yeah, 8.5 seconds. By qualifying, that could be 3 or 4 laps. Maybe quicker with the fresh tyres. Although, saying that, KJ has also started on the soft, so he may well disappear out the way anyway. Into the pits at some point. As we've got a yellow flag. It's a Mercedes. And it's Alfa Romeo in the gravel. And that's at the left-right chicane in sector 2. Makes his way back on track. These tyres are going to be very dodgy. Just needs to be a little bit careful. It's, yeah, just needs to be a bit careful from the next few corners. Alpha, and then he should be fine. See if he pits at the end of the lap. No obvious signs of damage on the car. So in terms of the front guys, the top 4 at the moment, still in the old DRS train. It's going to be the brave man who decides to pit first out of this. Will any of them 2-stop? Or will they all look to do the 1 medium to hard? Definitely personal preference around here is 1-stop for myself, but different drivers are different. Different drivers have different driving styles, and some hit and hurt their tyres a bit more, and I think that's Alfa Romeo's again. I think his tyres may be in trouble. The slightly higher damage rating we're running, so yeah, just to update on that settings wise, we are running standard reduced this year rather than reduced, which means spins and things will hurt the tyres a bit more. It's not as bad as if you got it on the top option, but I believe it does have an effect. Schooner probably just about perfect the gap to the car ahead here, because he's just about far enough that he shouldn't be getting too affected by the dirty air. But Bobo up the inside of turn 1 takes the lead of the race, and looking at my track map, it looks like Alfa Romeo is off again. I think his tyres are cut, he needs to pit. His tyres are gone, he needs to pit. Beastie in from P16, he switches to the hards. Bobo up the inside, steers it at turn 1 and takes the lead of the race. Could happen several times, you feel, through the rest of the evening. On lap 7 at the moment. Alfa Romeo's just coming round to the pits, so I'm expecting him. Yeah, he is in. He is indeed in. So yeah, that trip onto the gravel absolutely killed his tyres, unfortunately for him. So he's going to be in the same situation as Karma. He's just going to need to get in, get out. Well, he's going to retire from the session. Unfortunately, that will, unless he's got actual car damage, and that will see a 5-point deduction for him and his team. Whale is in. Well, this is an early stop to come off of the mediums, so clearly a 2-stopping coming from Whale as well. So both Ferraris 2-stopping. He switches to the hards. Teammate Oza switched to the mediums. Oza's pitted from P5, I think it was. Or 6. It was either 5 or 6. I think it was 6, because James had gotten past him. Well, under a bit of pressure from KJ, but with a fresh rubber in comparison to KJ's what must be very worn softs by now. It's Alpha's car pulling off to the inside of the track, and that will not cause a safety car. We'll move on. So Gunnar at the moment has just dropped out of DRS. I said not long ago that he was in a perfect sort of scenario, about 8 attempts cut behind, but now he's dropped out of DRS. That's an issue. Could he potentially switch strategy? I mentioned in qualifying about the tyre wear on pad being higher than Will. The top 3 drivers are all on Will. I just wonder if that additional tyre wear, being a pad player for Gunnar, is just affecting him now at this point in the race. So there is a possibility. He's got to think quick here. Is it worth switching to a 2-stop, or would that potentially cost him more positions before the end of the race? Okay, Alpha, if you're listening, I've just seen your message. So if you've got rear wing damage, so make sure you've got a picture of it, please. For the stewards, it's always been the rule in WAOF1. You must have be able to provide proof of the damage. As we got a yellow flag, it's a Sauber, and that's Chewbacca, who I think's gone wide on the fast right-hander. In the yellow flag, and that's Ozers that's now onto the back of him. Ozers just needs to be patient here. This will be a simple overtake. I wouldn't actually be surprised to see Chewbacca disappear into the pits here. But even if he doesn't, and he's not, it should be as basic as overtakes come. Look, he struggles to keep it around that corner as well. So off the track he goes. Ozers sensibly moves slightly to the inside to allow Chewbacca the room to re-enter the track. Ensuring no contact, but easiest to come for Ozers up to P14. Be interesting where he comes out in comparison to the likes of James when they pit. James and Falcao. James and Falcao holding on to the back of Rich at the moment. Only just, and James makes a little mistake. I don't think DRS is going to save him here. He's going to have a good final sector. Does just about get back into the 1 second, but then draw straight back out again. Look, this is going to be tight. Detection zone is just after the penultimate corner, or just before the final corner. It's probably the easiest way to say it, but he's not going to have it, which means James is going to be vulnerable here to Falcao. James looks like he's struggling through that final corner as well. Mediums are at the end of their stint. A comfortable overtake for Falcao. George not close enough to take advantage as well. I was about to say, well, it's just come onto the back of Chewbacca as well, but Chewbacca is finally into the pits at the end of lap 10. So 10 laps completed on softs is a very good stint. KJ's still out there, by the way, so he's not pitted yet. He just, well, as I say that, he does go into the pits, so 10 laps for him on the softs as well. Steersy, Bobo, Tolu looking like the most likely podium sitters tonight. Steersy on PC, Bobo, Tolu on PlayStation, and Gunnar and Rich in 4 and 5 are both Xbox, so a mix up there in terms of platforms. Pretty well known that PC and players have the biggest advantage, and then PlayStation apparently have a slight advantage over Xbox as well. I don't know how much of that is true, it's just what I get told. At the moment, we did see him take the lead earlier on, so Steersy clearly has gained it back. He runs a bit wide there, Steersy. He may have got a warning. Gunnar now has drops into the DRS of Rich. This could be a pit lap for Gunnar. Lap 12, 21 doable on the hards. Problem becomes, if you're struggling with your tyre wear already on the mediums, well, not already on the mediums, everybody's going to be struggling with it a bit, but if you're struggling to the point where you need to make a pit stop already, then you're likely to have the same problem on the hards later in the race. So no, he's sticking it out. He is going to be under pressure here, I feel, from Rich. He's got enough battery to attack here. Bit of DRS, a bit of tow, moves to the inside. He's going to have it done so that he can move back to the racing line in order to brake. Locks up a bit, which is always a slight worry if you're the car behind, following quite closely. Car in front of you locks up. It's a little moment when you think, oh no, please don't let me go into the pack of him. Falcao into the pits. And exits just behind Whale. So Whale definitely undercut his way up a bit by pitting early. But of course we'll need that extra pit stop later in the race. In terms of hosers, he's about 5.2 seconds he's gained to be ahead of Falcao now, so a nice gain, but that's going to leave an awful lot to do in the final stint for him. So I stick with my theory that the one stop is definitely quicker for me around here. So Bowo into the pits, first of the top runners. Just wonder if Gunnar will as well. He does indeed. So Bobo, Gunnar and James all into the pits. Bobo hards. Are they all going hards? Just trying to look. Gunnar's got that long run down to the last garage. And on go the hards. And yeah, on go the hards for James as well. So Oozers moves ahead of those two, but does not move ahead of Bobo. As we've got a yellow flag, that looked to be a Haas to me. It's already fine, so it looks like it was Watson, going by where the yellow flag was. I can't say that for absolute certainty, but that's who it looked like it was to me. But whatever it was, he's absolutely fine and carrying on. So it's an interesting competitive race at the front. So we get another yellow flag, and that's a Ferrari. Oh, it's Whale. And he's been off track. You can see on his tyres the grass. And he's missing his right end plate, so he's going to have to come into the pits. So was that a contact with another driver? Or has he made a mistake? Due to the part of the track where it's happened, I honestly couldn't make the call. It could have been either. So, temporarily at least, Boss Membrane will take the lead of the race. Watson up to P2. As Steersy, Tolu, Rich, George, oh no, not Bobo, whoever else it is, all pit. Steersy, that red that you can see coming down is Ozer's. So he's effectively undercut his way onto the leaders of this race. The effective leaders of this race. But of course, we'll have to take that extra pit stop. Should, touch wood, have an action-packed final part of the race. Hopefully WAOF can as well, but clearly that will have affected him. He's opted to carry on despite the wing end plate damage. George up the inside at turn 4, gets through pretty comfortably. And the problem here for WAOF, I think that he's kind of not got a choice but to carry on for several laps because he went to hards, he went medium to hard, and will presumably go to mediums or softs later in the race. So presumably mediums, which means he needs to tick off a few more laps before he can pit. There would be no value in pitting twice from here. It would just see him to the back. So Boss and Watson, we can expect to be going to somewhere around lap 20. So we may well see the likes of Bobo, Steersy and Tolo catch them before they pit, meaning they will need to navigate their way through safely. It will be for position, despite the fact that they need to pit. No blue flags in that scenario. It will be for position, and Boss and Watson will be completely allowed, 100% allowed to battle as much as they like. They may choose not to, because obviously it can cost themselves time. You'll see when they catch them, which I would predict to be in about 2 laps time. Well, Watson in 2 laps. Boss may not actually get caught. He may have enough of a gap here that Boss will get to his pit stop before the front runners can catch him. So, a chance here for Tolo to get past Steersy. Bobo already has. Steersy's dropping back a bit here. Just having a little look. See any signs of damage on the car, unless he's got, you know, you can only really see the front wing damage on the car visually when doing comms, so it is a case of if he does have any other types of damage, side pod damage, rear wing damage, anything like that, unfortunately I can't tell just by looking at the car. He's clearly struggling, so something going on for Steersy. Bobo, sorry, taking the lead of this race, but Tolu is after him. Tolu's laps, sorry, as I said, I'm not very well, so I get my words mixed up sometimes. Tolu's tyres just have 1 lap older, but that can make a difference in a high wear track. As into the pits comes Boss Membrane. Now, to me, that's a bit early to be coming off the hards. It's a long stint he's going to have to do on the mediums. They will be hurting come the end of this race. Watson has carried on, so he's not gone down that route. He's got another lap before the leaders, so he should be able to complete this lap before the leaders are right on the back of him. So, for me, from Watson, consider pitting this lap, but I think it would depend for me if Bobo and Tolu have gotten into this DRS, which it looks like they're probably going to. If they're in DRS, I would consider pitting. Just simply that he's going to come under attack down into turn 1, 2, 3, possibly. So you can expect Bobo to get through with the DRS, but he's bound to come under attack from Tolu and possibly Steersy as well. So he does stay out. Watson's no stranger. He very much loves to start hards in races, which seems to do him very well. But But he's no stranger to this scenario, and he is not shy of still defending the position, which, as I said, he's every right to do so. Simple fact is, you never know when a safety car might come. It can happen at any time in any race. So, absolutely, he's got the right to fight for position, because if a safety car comes out, everybody's in. At this point, everybody would be in to go to their second set of mediums. So a whale finally pitting to get rid of that damage, and he had a second set of hards to switch to, so he's gone to hards. But it could be Oz is also pitted, by the way, on his 2 stops, so he's to a fresh set of mediums. So it's a bit strange to me. That does mean he's going soft medium medium rather than soft medium hard, which does mean he's got a very long stint to do on the mediums as Watson comes in. That frees up Tolu, but look at the advantage Bobo has been able to pull. But fair play to Tolu. He's not risked a silly dive anywhere or anything like that. It was very sensible from Tolu. He knows the situation. He knows that Watson is absolutely fully allowed to defend that position, and so he should, in my opinion. But without doubt, it has given Bobo a great chance of winning this race. But remember that Tolu and Steersy have that 1 lap fresher tyres. And he's already Tolu is taking lumps out of Bobo already. He's taking 7 tenths out of him. Interesting just looking at this gap down the straight. So 1.7 1.7 as we go across the line. So just see if this gap increases or not. It does, look, it does. So right, so that's why Tolu's gaining so well. He's running slightly higher wings than Bobo is, so he's going to continue to gain through corners. Bobo may not be the easiest driver to overtake when it comes to DRSing him down the straight as Alpha leaves. It's unlucky tonight, Alpha. Hopefully that's your only DNF for the season and you've got it out of the way straight away. So just to reiterate that he did say in the chat that he had rear wing damage. That is a legitimate reason for retiring from the race if you have rear wing damage, because you can become a danger to other drivers. You could see that he was just constantly spinning. So I hope he's taken the proof of that, or that he streamed and can show the proof of that. And that way he won't get the reduction in points. So another few temps taken, well, 2 temps really, taken out of Bobo that lap. That's enough. He doesn't need to gain faster than that, Tolu. Doesn't need to take everything out of these tyres and catching Bobo. If he keeps catching a couple of temps, he'll be on him in a few laps time, a couple of laps time. That would still give him 10 laps to put Bobo under pressure. Oh, but he's round! Tolu spun it! Oh dear. That is not good for Tolu. He's going to lose loads of places. Down to P5, his teammate right on the back of him, but we saw clearly that's going to affect him. That's Karma, by the way, the McLaren that you saw slowing down. He's just moving out of people's way. He's a lap down. So due to that lap 1 incident for him, where I believe he was a bit of a passenger and got pit manoeuvred effectively and caused quite severe front wing damage that forced him to pit. But Tolu has surely just thrown away the win in race 1 of the season. Gunnar and Falco are back on for a potential podium here. Here comes Falco on Gunnar. Gunnar starts flashing, which is a red light to a ball. And through goes Falco up into P3. So starting the season strong as it stands at the moment, as he did last year, Falco. Question for Falco for me is going to be, can he keep it up through the whole season? You know, the consistent podiums and P4s and 5s and things like that. Because if he does, if he can, then he can be in with a chance. So, who should we go to? We've got Rich on the back of his teammate. James is on the back of that. James won't be over the moon that Tolu's at that moment, because he is now yellow flag again. It's Karma. He's in trouble, actually, I think, Karma. This wasn't just a moving out people's way. He's actually had an incident there and has gone round. Hard as it is, Karma, if you can hear me, just continue on to the end of the race so you don't get that 5-point deduction and pick up whatever points you do. You still get 2 points where you are, so you're still scoring something. Everyone that finishes does score. It's better than getting 5 points taken off you. He's driving very, very slowly. Maybe there is some issue. He is going to the pits. Oh yeah, it's the same wing damage that he had in the first stint. So don't retire. Keep going. Keep going. So Steersy then is the one now that's going to be taking the challenge to Bobo, and he's already caught him. And guys, I'm just going to... It hasn't come up yet, but I'm just going to restart a new party just so I don't end up in the game chat while they're still racing. Bear with me. There we go. Sure, Steers is close enough. He's going to have to be very close to Bobo. We saw Bobo is clearly running low wings in comparison to the other drivers, so this is going to be a challenge for Steersy. He's not just going to glide past him. He needs to stay, I would say, within 4 attempts going on to the pit straight. Real opportunity. And as we said, those final 2 corners are an absolute nightmare for staying close to the rear wing of the car ahead. I'm aware there are other battles going on, so I'm just going to switch quickly to Whale because he's caught the back of Kev and they are about to head on to the pit straight. Look how much Whale's going to come off the power through the final corner. If he doesn't do that, he ends up running wide because of the dirty air. He is going to get it done at the battery with the DRS. Down to 4 for turn 1. Nice overtake completed up to P15. And he will see if he can go after Beastie. Be a tall challenge. It's a 5-second gap. Beastie on 2-lap old mediums. So it's going to be a big challenge that for Whale to overcome that. But he can do it. As the laps tick away, Beastie will begin to get some wear on his tyres. So I do think Whale can potentially do that. He obviously wasn't close enough that lap. As you can see there, Bobo, all the way up to turn 4, his lights flash and he's in no ERS. He's completely saving ERS for the straight. So is Steersy, and I just wonder Steersy's best opportunity might be to try and get an overtaking somewhere else on the track. Somewhere where you can see Bobo is battery saving, battery farming, whatever you want to call it. Karma picks up 3 seconds. So look, just a bit of an issue. That's going to knock him far enough back. He's 5 tenths back as they come out of the final corner. Bobo just moves across the inside, so that's breaking the toe. Is he flying up to the back of him? We're alongside, going into 2. Bobo will have the inside of 3. I think Bobo's going to fend him off. Bobo does fend him off. Has he got a chance around the outside at 4 here, Steersy? Always going to be difficult there for me. It's never fully alongside on the outside, which is the requirement now. Make an overtake around the outside. You must be fully 100% alongside at the apex. That just makes a bit of a mistake there, Steersy. See, he was 5 tenths behind going onto the pit straight, so half a second gives him a chance. If he could be 4 tenths behind, you feel that he would get it. Whereas half a second behind, clearly he then needs to battle through turns 1, 2 and 3. In terms of this, you could argue that Stussy doesn't really need to do this. I mean, Bobo is a reserve, so he's not scoring points. I believe he is on the full-time waiting list, so technically he could actually get those points back later in the season, so yeah, if he becomes full-time. So yeah, it's still worth battling actually for Steersy. I wouldn't say back off or anything like that. It's actually just backed out of the 1 second. I just wonder if that's an attempt at cooling his engine down. Knows he's got the pace to actually get back within that 1 second at any point, so he could just back off for a few laps, cool the engine, lift and coast into corners, just get a few degrees, as many degrees as he can off of the engine temps. Just as fascinating as the battle is for P1, it is for the final podium spot as well, P3, as we've got a yellow flag. Is that KJ just moving out of people's... No, it's James! It's James! Oh, James, who was on the back of Gunnar and Falcao, he drops to P12. Oh, James, unlucky. That's karma, round the wrong way. I'm starting to think that actually that incident on lap 1 gave karma more than just front wing damage, because he's been struggling through the rest of the race, and I think he might have some other... He might have some sort of rear wing damage, because it's very difficult to keep the car in a straight line with rear wing damage now. He's had a couple of other incidents, so even if it's very minor, it still makes it very difficult to keep the car going in a straight line. So at the moment, Bobo has a bit of breathing space. Steersy's fallen out of DRS. But, as I say, I just wonder if that's more of a tactic from Steersy to try and cool the engine. But at the moment, P3 to P7, all within a second of each other. They're all in DRS. It's P3, and higher positions are all up for grabs. Solu's pace we have seen in this race, and in previous races when he's raced in WAOF1, not at the moment able to do anything to get past Gunnar. I do wonder if that's because the spin he had at turn 4 might have taken too much out the tyres, which has made him now have to nurse them in order to get him to the end. Oh, Gunnar makes a mistake, runs wide at turn 2, and that does indeed allow Solu through. So the podium potentially is back on as James is round again and makes his way back to the pits. So don't retire, James. Keep going. So I can only assume that's a tyre wear issue. And again, I just wonder if it could be that the first spin has just caused the tyres to be too bad. set the softs for James. You'll see if he can set the fastest lap now. Just Karma getting out of the way of his teammate and Steersy. Does mean he's now down 2 laps to the leaders, which is not a situation that Karma will often find himself in, but as I said, I think that first lap incident has caused more than the front wing damage that we could see. Solo and Falcao side by side. I'm on the wrong driver. Falcao inside of turn 3. Little bit of wheel banging. For me, again, just hard racing. Tolu absolutely making his intentions clear. He does have, well, he has 2 laps fresher tyres, but again, we saw him spin at turn 4 on these tyres, so just how much fresher they are. But that's a mistake from Falcao, and Tolu is going to take full advantage of that. The left-right chicane is his, and Falcao drops to P4. Falcao can hold on to this. Clearly tyre air issues though going on, as you see Gunnar there struggles in the dirty air around the fast right-hander. Oh, and he runs out into Rich there, and that's going to cost him more. And the big benefactor of that one was Boss Membrane, who just drove up the inside of both of them, and he's up to P5 and in DRS of Falcao and Tolu. Quietly going about their business today, by the way, our Admiral in P8 and the 2 Haas drivers as well in 9 and 10 have gone around very nicely. Is that Karma or is it Bobo? It is Karma. Got McLaren leading the race. Gotta wonder to yourself every time something goes wrong with it. I've absolutely no doubt now. It's absolutely plain as day that Karma has more than just that front wing damage. It's obvious. So my suspicion is that he's got rear wing damage. Side pod damage, and that doesn't tend to cause you to spin around as he has been. Rear wing damage, without a doubt, will. So that would be my suspicion there. As expected, James does set fastest lap of the race. It's a moment. Kev looking like he's too far up the road. It's only a 3-second penalty. But James will go after him. See if we can get within that penalty range. With Kev being on the very worn hard tyres. 15 laps completed on them. Back to be 16. So we're on to the final lap. And Steersy, I don't know what's happened, but Steersy has suddenly fallen 8.5 seconds behind Bobo. What's happening to Steersy? He's fallen completely into the realms of Tolu and Falcao here. Steersy's tyres must be so close to puncturing because he is nursing them. Even if he does drop a few positions, it's better than getting a puncture and potentially losing all of them. So here comes Tolu to take P2. I was not expecting, so that's why he actually dropped off of Bobo. A little bit of contact between the two, but nothing really to write home about. But Bobo wins in Spain on his return to WAOF1. Congratulations, Bobo. Tolu rounds the final corner and nicks P2 on the final lap off of Steersy, who comes home in 3. Falcao with a brilliant race, P4. Boss Membrane also very good race, P5. Rich, nice debut from Rich, P6. The Gunnar 7 in the end. The Gunnar P7. Admiral in 8. George 9. Ryan 10. Watson 11. Ozers 12. That 2-stop just did not work for the Ferraris. I know Whale had issues, so it's a bit hard to tell with him. But the Ozers 2-stop is literally, I mean, he's finished P12 when he should have been up around that sort of P6 area. Just It's not work tonight. It does work at other tracks. He does get it to work sometimes. Anyway, where was I? Ozers 12, Beastie 13, Whale 14, Chewbacca 15, Kevin 16, James will come home in 17, KJP 18 on debut, Karma, with that unfortunate first lap incident, will take P19. But Karma, at least you score a couple of points. You've kept it going. And taken a couple of points. I'm half tempted to give him driver of the day for that, but I won't. Unfortunately. Sorry, Karma. Our podium celebrations, that's enough of that. Not bothered by what the game says. So, yeah, I think Boss Membrane is my driver of the day. Admiral are very close. Second, Ryanair also a very strong race, but I think Boss Membrane is my driver of the day tonight. So, congratulations, Boss, on that one. I've just scrolled through the incidents just to scroll back up. It's not actually that many, to be fair, to the drivers. There's not a huge amount on there. But there we go. That's just in case the race director is required. Other than that, a nice opening race of the season. It didn't provide the most exciting race we're ever going to see, but overall, it's proved that we're going to have a battle at the front. There's no doubt about that. Tolu, Steersy, Falco, Boss, Bobo, if he can get a full-time seat as well, clearly are going to be battling away. The Gooner as well. Rich has shown good pace. But then the battle behind that as well is going to be just as fierce, I feel. Which is why I'm so impressed with Admiral's drive tonight, actually, because qualifying pace maybe wasn't there against the drivers that you would expect to be around. But in the race, he was consistent and has taken a very good P8 in the end. So well done to our top three. Well done to Boss Membrane, who takes my driver today. Shout out there to Admiral as well, who had a very strong race, and the two Haas drivers, who for me also stood out a bit. So well done, guys. That's our first race of the season. As I did say, I'm not feeling very well, guys, so I'm not going to rattle on for ages. Thank you to everyone who's watched along. Thank you to everybody who watched the stream back at a later point. Well done to the drivers tonight. I thought it was a very good first race. Couple of incidents. Don't forget, drivers, if you are listening, please report them. There's no point arguing in chat. Just report them. Other than that, good night, God bless, and I will see you again next week.